Welcome to the Sit Down Zumock Bunch of BS podcast. It's the Z-Man coming at you below the weather. But I'm a fighter. I'm a champion. I'm getting through this shit. And joining me today in studio, we'll start ladies first. Comedian, author, Genevieve Joy.
Hello.
And on my far right is, from the Howard Stern Show, Speech Impediment Man.
How you doing? What's happening out there in podcast land?
Possibly my next co-host. We don't know. We're auditioning you.
We'll see how it goes.
But before we get started, Jen, would you like to plug anything? I know you have a book coming out.
Tomorrow. So my mom wrote...
Actually, today. No, this is going to be released tomorrow.
What? Today? So congratulations to me. I have a book out. That's a weird thing to say. So my mom and I wrote a book, which means I wrote a book. And it's technically her life story, but I wrote it. It's all about... This is boring. And should I talk about the book? I don't know.
You want to sell a book?
I'm terrible at selling things. People used to tell me I had the personality for sales, and I don't. I don't. All right. So my mom was in Los Angeles during the late 60s.
Okay.
And she was here for all the Manson stuff, and she went out with a whole bunch of famous people, so she has all these crazy cool stories. And then she moved to New York in the 70s, where she lived in the building with John Lennon and Leonard Bernstein, and she was there the night he was shot. So she was right in the middle of all these really cool things that happened in history. And she has been urged to write a book forever. So we did this project together. And after 3 years of hanging out with my mom way too fucking much, it is finally happening.
What's the book? Where can people get it?
They can get it on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. It's in some select bookstores, Book Soup, Diesel Bookshop.
What's the name of the book?
Me Swamy, The Spiritual Education of a Beauty Queen.
Wow. All right, well, go get that book.
All right.
There it is.
Sounds interesting.
Would you buy that book?
Yes, I would. I like the title, Kiss Me Swamy, because it has kind of a Zen feel to it.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like the title. That was her one real contribution, was the title.
Well, I like people that are like spiritual and stuff, and your mom seems like a very spiritual
Well, we'll
person.
have to make sure you get a copy.
There you go.
I'll even autograph it. We both will.
There you go. Well, yours is okay, Chad. I don't need.
Yeah, no.
Don't even start with me, Speech Impediment Man. I'm not in the mood. Not feeling well. I don't have time for your shit.
Hey, Chad, I saw something on Facebook. If this podcast or comedy thing doesn't work out, I'm sorry.
You're all good.
I saw a story, an 85-year-old priest, he quit the priesthood and became a porno star. So you could do that. That's an option on the table.
Wait, to become a priest or a porno star?
No, he was a priest. He was married for 26 years. He got divorced. He finally figured out he was gay, and he decided to take a walk on the wild side and become a porno star at 85.
I'm okay with that, but could you move out of my apartment before you become a porno star?
Speech Impediment Man, I knew this was a horrible idea having you here today.
I think he's great.
Just completely terrible.
She likes me. That's all that
I sure
matters.
do.
What do you have to plug before we get going, Speech Impediment Man? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Speech Impediment Man. My real name is Jeffrey Pines. I was on Twitter, but someone doesn't like my jokes, so I got kicked off Twitter.
You got kicked off of Twitter?
I got kicked off Twitter.
Oh.
I have an appearance. I'm appearing with my friend Eddie Jarvis this Saturday night at Brooks. It's what a golfing range. They got a golf range out there.
Where?
It's in Riverside.
Well, okay, just go somewhere in Riverside, look for a golf range.
Yeah.
And you might see Jeffrey Pine's speech impediment man.
Yes. Just look for the guy with a Superman costume with the
When's the next time you're on the Stern Show?
Well, in fact, Howard's going to be out here in October.
He's not going to your appearance.
Is he going to be at the golf club?
No. But I just called back to New York and I spoke to Jason Kaplan. And he said, yes, they are working on some appearances out here in Hollywood in October.
Well, we'll look forward to that. I'm glad you guys could join me on the special Labor Day edition podcast. Genevieve, I wanted to have you on because you have some crazy stories. Like you said, your mom has stories, but you have crazy stories yourself.
I do.
And I wanted to talk to you about, I want to know a little bit why Scotland's retarded.
All of Scotland is retarded.
Is this because they wear kilts?
No, I think that they wear kilts because they're the retardation happened first. So I wrote a play a couple years ago, and I went to Edinburgh to be in the festival. And I'd been there before, actually. Well, all the things I'm about to say, I probably shouldn't even admit that I'm Scottish. My dad is Scottish.
So you're bashing your own
I am
kind.
bashing my own kind. I am. So...
Well, it's like black people. They could say the N-word. We can't.
True.
So you can trash.
Well, I mean, we can. It's just frowned upon.
And we might get hit.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So we don't in polite society. But I hadn't realized this. I'd been there before, but on this particular trip, I noticed that there is an abnormal amount of slow people in the country of Scotland. And do you know about that? Like, have you ever been there?
No.
Okay.
So how did you figure out they were slow?
Well, first of all...
Did you, give them an IQ test?
All right. Well, the first thing that happens when you go there is you're bombarded with these crests. Everybody has a flag. They have a family thing. So my father's family was the Anderson clan, right? So every family has their own clan that was in this region. So what that actually means is that for thousands of years, Andersons were only fucking Andersons.
Yes, maybe they do that because they don't want any inbreeding.
Inbreeding?
Yes.
No, it's like the opposite of that. It's all inbreeding.
They do want inbreeding.
Right, they are inbreeding. Right? And up until a couple hundred years ago, they didn't know that water was safe because they couldn't figure out how to clean it. So they would feed their children beer and nobody drank water.
Really?
Yes, they would have low alcohol beer and that's all that they drank because they would make it
So
and
the
then they
kids were
wouldn't
getting
get
hammered?
sick. Everybody was hammered. So we're talking about thousands of years of inbreeding plus fetal alcohol syndrome. In addition, until Braveheart came out in the 90s, nobody went to Scotland. England is genetically diverse. Ireland, obviously, because they were invaded 100 million times. But Scotland was literally just Andersons, fucking Andersons, McLeods, fucking McLeods, while they were drunk the entire time. Wearing kilts, because who gives a shit? They're in the Highlands. And their descendants, all of them, they're fucking slow. We went.
They were playing the bagpipes too.
They were playing the ugliest instrument that has ever been in. Stop! If you're a bagpipe defender, I can't.
I'm sorry. I'm a Roddy Piper defender, one of the greatest pro wrestlers of all time, who wore a kilt and played the bagpipes.
Good for him. He also got hit in the head a lot.
Yeah, well, he's my idol.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
So. So we were doing this show and we had it. All right. Where was I?
You were talking about slow people in Scotland.
That's funny that you would say that.
So Scotland is a Kentucky of the Far East.
Well, it's not the Far East. It's
Or far
the
west.
UK. You can call it. Yeah, 100. Yeah, but we went to this comic store. I was there with this guy who wrote a comic book. I wasn't there. We weren't there because he wrote a comic book. He was my actor, and he wrote a comic book. And we walk into this comic book store, and he's trying to find the one that he wrote. And he says to this guy, "Do you have?" And this guy turns around and he's like, "Gavin's not here." And we're like, We
Why,
don't.
what?
Right?
Do that again.
Gavin's not here.
I love that.
Right? So he's like, no, I'm looking for it. And he goes, Gavin's not here. And we're like, okay. So we leave. And I'm like, who the fuck is Gavin? Right?
Do they speak, what is it?
They speak Gaelic. Gaelic, or Gaelic is the Scottish. Gaelic is the Irish. But they speak English. They just speak fucked up English. So we go back in a little while later to go see. We're like, maybe this Gavin guy's here. We walk in. We get like one step in the door. And he goes, he's not here. You know Gavin. He'll be down the pub. They should put his bed in the pub. He's not here. We're like, who the fuck is this guy? Clearly he's an alcoholic and leaving his store in charge with that guy.
Yeah.
Right? So we come back, like, I'm like, now we're on this mission. I'm like, I have to see this Gavin. So we come back a day later, and there's a guy standing outside wearing this comic book jacket with this, like, odd-looking dog. And we're like, that's got to be him. So we go up to him. We're like, we're looking for this certain comic book edition. He turns around and he goes, Gavin! And inside the store, this guy with one tooth and his hair, like, all over the place, like, turns out he's like, hello! There's beer cans all over the cash register, right? And he goes, I'm looking for a comic book. It's a Superman. He's like, I don't know. He's like, you don't know Superman? He's like, maybe. That was a bad accent. Maybe we don't have a database. You're welcome to Rummage. No, I go tie one on. Like, this is a fucking person who owns a store. Like, that's just one.
Yeah.
All right? And everyone was like that. Everyone.
Every single person
Every
in Scotland?
single person. There's Gavins all over the place.
I've never
Country
been to
crawling with Gavins.
I've never been to Scotland.
It's great.
And if you were the spokesperson for Scotland, I don't think anybody would ever go to Scotland.
I think everybody should go to Scotland because you will never feel more beautiful looking as you do than walking around in this country. I mean, even people, it's like you look at somebody and they look all right head on and then they turn and you're like, yeah! Or like they seem okay and then they start to walk. Like something is off with every citizen of Scotland.
So let me ask you, I'm not a good-looking guy, but
Well, that's a matter of opinion.
would I be a hot-looking guy in Scotland?
You would be the hottest guy.
You'd be the Brad Pitt of Scotland,
would-
speech impediment man.
100%.
You need to move their stat
I do.
and start cleaning house.
I do.
There you go.
And you know what? Since
Pulling ass in Scotland.
inbreeding,
You're good at it.
That triples my chances of getting
100%.
What is your nationality, speech impediment man?
I'm part German and I'm part Russian.
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 Yeah.
Russian.
All right.
Yeah. My dad is actually only half Scottish and half German, but he denies the German. Like, if you ask him, he's like, I'm a Scotsman. When he came to visit me, he morphed into, he's like, I'm Robbie Anderson. I'm like, first of all, your name's not even Anderson. That's his grandmother's name. And you don't talk like that.
Yeah.
He's very proud of his Scottish heritage, not at all of the German side. I don't know what that's about.
Well, they have a sketchy history.
Is it about Hitler?
Could be.
Killing the Jews, maybe?
I wasn't going to say that, but, you know, maybe it could have something to do with it.
Was he ever an oven salesman?
Was my father an oven
Too
salesman?
soon, speech impediment
Too
man.
soon, I'm sorry.
No, I'm half Italian, but you would never know it.
You would never know it.
I know. My dad's like full on, like, stereotypical gold chain, hairy chest.
That's hot.
Yeah, he got the whole swag going on, but I got more of my mom's features. Will you focus on the podcast, speech impediment man?
She's so
Jesus Christ.
She's so damn good looking. I may never get a chance to sit by a hot chick like this.
Yeah, that's probably
And
right.
plus, she said I'm a 10 in Scotland.
Yeah.
I'm going to take her over to Scotland.
We'll just focus on the product right now. Well,
Okay.
This is your time. You can take pictures of her afterwards. This is the worst podcast I've ever done.
Or the best.
Well, thank you for inviting me on, Chad.
I wanted to ask you this, Genevieve.
Yes.
Because I asked you to send me over some. I needed
Some headlines.
some headlines because I'm fucking with the format of the podcast, and one of the things that made me laugh was mattress fucker. Like, where do I go from there? Where do I go from there?
Okay, so you had said, what are some crazy stories that you had? And I just had to rattle off mattress. Well, all right. So the last time I brought a man back to my apartment, and I will never fucking do this again. It was a disaster. So, okay.
Was he Scottish?
No, he was. All right.
Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe that was the problem.
Does this end with mattress fucking?
It does.
Okay.
So, all right. So when I first moved to California,
Sure.
Okay, I went to. All right. When I go out in public, I basically have two gears. I either look like I'm going to the red carpet, or I just fell out of a dump truck. I have a very hard time with casual, right?
Yeah.
So one morning I'm in a coffee shop somewhere. I don't even know where because I had just moved here.
Right.
And I'm definitely in dump truck mode. And I see this guy sitting at a computer, and he's gorgeous, and he's alone. And like normally I would go and try to make something happen. But
Sounds like Speech Impediment Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was in a coffee.
In Scotland.
You've been in a coffee shop?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think
could
that this was
be
you, but there might. All right. Where am I?
So see a guy, he's gorgeous.
I see a guy, he's gorgeous, then I catch a glimpse of myself in the window, and I'm like, you're in no condition to go try to make something happen. So what I did was like 1,000 times creepier. I went behind where he was sitting, and I saw he had his Facebook open, and I saw his name. So I went home, and then I sent him a friend request.
That's hilarious.
But I waited until I got home because I didn't want to be like, who's this, and look around. So I did it from home, which he accepted, right?
Yeah.
Because I look great in my pictures. And you know, I mean, I'm
Right.
ready for the image that's out there on the internet, not what was going on that day.
Yeah.
Right? So he accepts my friendship. And then, like, years later,
He accepts my
He
friendship.
clicks like on something, then I click like on something, and then he sends me a note being like, this is so odd, I can't figure out how I know you. And I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea. Like, you're from Ohio, like, and you're from Ohio.
Yeah, I am.
Right? So my old roommate was from Ohio. So I made up this whole thing. I'm like, maybe you know my roommate Abigail. Oh, I know he doesn't know Abigail. I know exactly why I'm friends with this person. I'm not going to tell him.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of creepy.
It's completely creepy. So it's the creepiest thing ever. And he's like, well, maybe we should get a drink together and we can figure it out. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I go to meet this guy for a drink.
And he's from Ohio?
He's from Ohio.
I have a large listenership in Ohio. Because I was on the radio in Ohio, so just giving you a heads up.
That's very funny. But see, here's the thing. Here's why, like, I don't believe in like online dating and all that, because somebody can look good like a picture, but then they walk or they open their mouth, and then it's all ruined, and then you're stuck there. You know.
That's why I got off all those apps. I'm out.
No,
That's my problem.
I mean, first of all, we can all say the stigma's lifted. I still believe it reeks of desperation. However, you can't, like, so yes, the guy was good looking, but I go to the and he walks in, he's like, you look great. Like, already he's on my nerves. His voice is stupid, and he's like tall and like gangly, like very not my. I don't know what I'm doing, and we don't have a terrible time because we're hanging out and it's fine, and then it's starting to be late. I don't think I met him till late, and it's kind of time to go, right? So he walks me back to my car, and I truly like want to go home,
Right.
but out of my mouth pops the words, do you want me to drive you to your car? Which is like 3 feet away, which obviously is just an invitation to like come in my car.
Yeah.
To, like, right? I mean, that's what that is.
Right.
But it's like, I used to have a sex addiction problem, and I worked on it.
How
But
do you work on it?
You stop. You move to Los Angeles, where
culture.
everybody has these like nasty.
Or why not move to Scotland?
You could move to Scotland. It just kind of, my brain kicked into that mode where I'm like, men in my car, must fuck him. So I did not like him. I did not want him. He goes in for a kiss, and he's like,
I wish most women thought like that. Man in my car, gotta fuck him.
right. Well,
That'd be great for Uber drivers.
It's not so great for Uber drivers. I am an Uber driver.
Oh, well, there you go.
I honestly, I've only had a couple of slips with the Uber driving. I've been really good about that.
So
But-
you've done it in a car.
No.
Well, let's stay on
do it in
track.
the
Let's
car.
stay on track. I want to get
All right. So this guy. Okay. So he's like, I've been waiting to do that. I'm like, really? Because I felt like we had zero chemistry. But I drive him, like the 2 feet to his car, and then he starts, things start happening, and I'm like, do you want to come up into my apartment? Which I don't want him to.
Must fuck him.
Man in my proximity must fuck, right? It's like must not. I don't like. It's right. So we go up to my apartment, and I'm like, ugh, maybe he just won't find a parking spot. And then he'll give up, which is not what happened. He found a parking spot right away, which is hard on that block. And he comes right upstairs. He's like naked in 2 seconds. We're in the bed. He starts like
Now, were you guys making out before this? Like
in the car a little.
Okay.
And then, no, I was like, take your car. I'm not returning here in the morning to bring anybody back to, so you're on your own. You want to come, you come. So he comes up to my place. We're in my bed, and he starts like kissing my shoulder, like this weird, sloppy, lacking any kind of direction or skill. And I'm like, you know what? No. And I physically can't. I just shut down. I'm like, not doing it. Not doing it. No. So I said, I don't know what happened. Maybe I had too much wine. I'm just suddenly so tired.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you're not ready, I'm like, yes, that's what it is. He's
He
like,
said, I'm not ready.
well, he guessed that, and I went with it because he was giving me what am I supposed to say? I find you repugnant and you're on my nerves. He even gave me an out in the car. He was like, we can do this another time. I'm like, there's not going to be another time. Yeah. I'm not going to spend 3 hours with you again. Like, it's happening or it's not, right? So, anyway, he says to me, I totally understand, but I'm very turned on right now. And I just really need to. And I'm like, oh, jerk off, knock yourself out. Because I had to finish the sentence. Because I don't even want to give him an opportunity to, like, ask me to go down on it. Like, nothing is happening. None of this, right? So he goes, the only thing is, there's only one way that I can from
Gotta get the poison out.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Where were you for filling in his words?
I was hiding in the corner.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you were there. So he rolls over onto his stomach and grabs the bars of my bed and starts to violently fuck the shit out of my mattress.
Oh, my God.
And I'm lying there next to this person while he's just, like, going to town on this mat. And he's like, ugh, ugh. And I'm like, oh, my God. And it's very rough what he's doing. And I'm thinking, I could be under there. I'm so glad I'm not. Like, it was the closest thing to an out-of-body experience I've ever had. Because I'm watching, but I'm just, it's like watching two people have sex, but one of those people just isn't there. And
it's
then
traumatizing.
But then he starts talking. He's like, you're so fucking hot. I'm like, who? I'm over here. It
He
was the
wanted
oddest.
you to talk dirty to him.
It was but from the other side of it was the strangest thing that has ever fucking happened. And then I'm thinking, like, I had just gotten these new sheets from Pottery Barn Kids. They had the little pink hearts on them, and they're adorable. And I'm like, is there a polite way to ask him not to splooge?
Please not on my new sheet.
All over my new sheet.
Here's a bucket.
So what had happened was before.
That's like that scene in Stranger Things where they come downstairs and the old lady's eating fertilizer. You're just like traumatized and freaked out. Like, why is this? Yeah.
But before I had changed my mind and, decided I was too tired or whatever, he had put on the condom. Right? It was on. Like, he was 100%.
So he wore a condom to fuck the mattress.
Ready to go.
Fair
so
enough.
he goes, I hear, and he rolls
Well, he doesn't know where that
over,
mattress has been.
and he pulls off the condom. And I said, you had that on this entire time? And he says, I wouldn't raw dog someone else's mattress.
Yeah.
Well,
That would be weird.
He's polite.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
So when are you going to see him again?
Yeah, call in.
Now let me ask you.
Yes.
I'm just saying, okay, like I go to a bar, I try and pick up women, but
What's your pickup line?
Yeah.
My pickup line is, oh, you have beautiful eyes.
Oh, you fucking stallion.
That's not bad. That's
How do they not
There you go.
go
that's a
for
good
that?
place to start.
Well, afterwards, they got, well, where are you from? Because they pick up on my speech impediment and my standard.
So they
line
think
is
it's an
French.
accent?
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
You should come up with a foreign country, and
There you go.
nobody's ever
You're
heard
an
of.
exiled prince. You have
I'm,
millions and millions of
Yeah.
dollars.
But what I'm saying is, okay, it's got to be different. I mean, if they turn me down, but if a sex addict turns me down, then I'm really fucked.
You're not fucked at all.
You're
Well,
not.
yeah.
You're the opposite. All right. Where do we go? How do I answer this? How do I start to answer
What
this?
is your ratio on, say, you go to a bar, how many, say out of 10 guys, how many guys would you find?
Well, let's see. I mean, all right. I'm going to say something that is not going to make me very popular. It's a luxury to have the misfortune of becoming a sex addict, right? In the first place, because that's how it starts. It starts with an overflow of attention,
Right.
right? So I was pretty much invisible in high school and into college, but once I was out in the world, it was like I couldn't walk 10 steps.
Do you have daddy issues?
No,
No.
I do not. I'm probably one of the few who does not.
I love how speech
dad-
impediment man's becoming.
Therapist man?
I've hung around enough porno stars, strippers, I know.
Yeah, but I'm not a stripper or a porno star.
Well-
What happened, I think, is that I just got used to. I got this overflow of attention from men all at once when I was too, young to really know how to handle it or process it.
Can I ask you, can I walk you to your car?
All right, that's enough. I'm getting creeped out at this point.
And then I just got used to getting laid all the time. I had like 3-4 boyfriends going at once. And then it became the norm.
Yeah.
So it was like if I went 2 days without having sex with somebody, something was like off, and I'd get like, it can become an addiction like anything else.
You would have been helpful during the Me Too movement,
I would have been helpful.
So with all this craziness going on.
On whose team would I have been helpful?
No. I got to do this read real quick. Kevin's, because if you go to my Patreon, you can sign up for $3 a month for additional content. You can also get the podcast 1 week prior. I know I'm a little late this week. My bad. This will go up tonight. But you can also become a $100 sponsor of the podcast. And Kevin Cernair is a $100 sponsor. He's a State Farm insurance rep. And if you call him directly at 330-877-2323 or go to his website, kevincernair.com, you can get some great insurance rates, boats, cars, well, you name it. Just hit up Kevin, tell him the Z-Man sent you, and sign up for additional content. In fact, there's a video of me and Speech Impediment Man screaming at each other.
Yes.
That's
yes.
on that's on the Patreon.
That's kind of funny.
Yes. I was kind of teetering and not showing up tonight, but, since you're a friend of Jim's, I figured.
Oh, you were on the fence about me?
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. He kept
I'm on the
asking
fence about you, too.
He kept asking for my phone number, and I refused to give it to him.
Well, you accused me of being homophobic, and I just want to prove to you that, I have no problem no matter your sexual preference.
Oh, God.
And I like sex
I'm so
addicts,
confused right
too.
now.
Actually, this podcast is going exactly how I thought it would. The more I think about it.
It's a train wreck. Kind of like all my comedy shows.
Now, since Jen's here, I do want to ask her, because I asked her to send me some things. And the taco karma thing seemed pretty interesting. And I hope this all doesn't end with... that's what that one ended with mattress fucker.
Yeah.
I hope they don't all the punchlines taco
No.
karma.
No. It's, well,
By the way, I just had tacos at some place in the valley. I would give them a plug, but I don't know where I forgot. Anyways, go ahead.
was it one of the ones that literally, if you walk, because we live in the same apartment.
Yeah, I wish you wouldn't say that.
Why?
Because there's some creeps that listen to this podcast.
I'm not going to tell them where it is.
Yeah.
But if you walk out of the apartment in any direction, you'll hit a taco shop.
Yeah. I forgot the name of it.
There's literally it's like there's one in every single spot.
Well, that's California in general.
I guess so. I just thought it was exciting, but maybe not. All right. I haven't
We're
said anything.
moving on from mattresses to fucking food.
To fuck. Okay.
Yeah, it's a transition. That's how I do. That's how I run shit.
Right. What do I want to say? So, yeah. All right. Tacos. So
I love how it takes you so long to get going, and then once you're going, you're fine.
It does, because I'm like, my brain is like, and I'm still on other things, and I feel like it's fine. It's okay. Everything's gonna be fine. I was visiting a friend of mine at her house, and I was leaving, and I ran into somebody, this other friend of mine, walking with her dog, and she wasn't with the dog. She was walking on her own. This is a terrible setup to the story.
Yeah,
I'm going to start again. Okay, so I was walking down the street. I ran into a friend of mine, and she was on her way someplace.
And she had a cat.
She had no animals with her at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I was actually just going to go I was just leaving. I'm going to go get some lunch. And she's like, oh, I have my little dog in my car. I can't bring her where I'm going. Do you want to take her with you for a walk or something? And I know this dog, and I love this dog. It's the cutest dog ever. So I was like, yeah. So I went to go get this dog. Now I have a dog with me, and we're walking, and I'm not going to get in the car and go where I was going to go. I'm going to go someplace where I am. So I find this taco shop that looks like a real dump. And you know how, like...
They all do.
No, but the good ones do. Like, if a taco shop is all slick on the outside, it's probably terrible,
I was just gonna say, I mean, a restaurant, you grade it by how it looks. If it looks run down, used, dirty, then a lot of people go.
I don't know if this holds true for all restaurants.
Yeah.
But taco shops, yes.
Yeah, right. So anyways.
Right. Anyway, so I go into this taco shop, and it's phenomenal. It's like the greatest taco shop I've ever been to. And I buy like all, and the thing is, I realized that I spent $17 on food, which for a place like this, like that's a lot. Like that buys a lot. And I noticed, because I was like, I feel like,
right.
Well, whatever. And I'm eating it, and I box up the rest of it, and I'm walking across the street to go back to return this dog to its owner. And a homeless lady is laying in the road outside the 7-Eleven, because that's where homeless people seem to congregate. Like anytime you go to a 7-Eleven, there's homeless people camped out
They're
there.
everywhere. They're such a problem.
Yeah, but they really like the 7-Eleven. Like, that's kind of it's like where they,
That's a good spare change spot.
It's a very good spare change spot.
When people come out, they usually ask for a buck or two.
Right, there we go. So they're there. There's a lady, she's lying on a pile of bags, and she goes, excuse me, where did you get that meal? And I said, at the restaurant. And she goes, oh, and it's good? And I was like, yeah, it's really good. And she's like, okay, well, thanks. I'm thinking of making my way over there myself.
After you give me a couple bucks.
And it was very awkward, but she didn't ask for it. You know what I mean? Like,
what do you mean?
Like, she didn't say, like, can I? She said, I'm going to go. Thank you for recommending this place with all your food that's really good that you're holding. I'm going to go there myself. And I'm like, okay. So I keep walking, because she didn't ask for anything. She just had this conversation with me. So then I'm like, wait a minute. And I look over, and like, she's laying in bed. Like, she's not making her way anywhere. Like, she's not going to go buy lunch. And then I'm like, but she didn't ask for it, so I don't have to give it to her, because I really didn't want to give it to her. And then like the dog's looking at me like, you're going to do the right thing, right? And I have this guilty feeling. So I walk over to the homeless lady, and I'm like, I ordered too much. Do you want to take the rest of mine, instead of walking all the way over there? And as though this wasn't her plan from the start, she's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Right. And then I give it to her, and then I'm like, well, I was going to go eat this at home where I have a fork. She doesn't have a home. She's going to need a fork. So now I'm like going to 7-Eleven to go find her a fork and like opening it. And she gave me it. She's like, are you sure you don't want this? Because obviously something about my expression as I handed it over was like pissed. And I'm like, no. Right. So I go with the
She's
dog.
pulling some Jedi mind tricks on you.
Yeah, and I walk away, and I'm like looking at this fucking dog that I now hate, and I'm like, I hope you're happy.
Yeah.
And I go to Retraining, and I'm so mad, and I get in the car, and I'm like, I guess I might as well just go make some money because I just spent it all on this meal I don't even get to have now. And this guy gets into my Lyft because I don't actually drive Uber anymore. I got kicked out of being an Uber driver. I'm a Lyft driver now.
Oh, okay.
And he gets into my Lyft and he says, would you mind terribly stopping at the Del Taco because I'm starving? And I said, sure. And he hands me a $20 bill and he goes, I'm just getting a taco. Whatever the change is, just keep it as an extra tip. And it was exactly the dollar and cent amount that I had spent on that.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's a cool.
So, I mean, it's not like a set the world on fire hilarious story, but it's kind of a nice story.
You paid it forward and it paid out.
No, it's true. Because I did the right thing. I got all the money back.
Do you believe in that? Like that karma and.
It's actually called the divine law of compensation. And yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Like just putting good stuff out there and it comes back to you?
Well, I think that, I mean, the spiritual practice that I study and follow is based on the writings of Ralph Waldo Emerson, who wrote the essay Nature. I don't know if you're familiar, if you've ever read it. So essentially what he says, which is what all of the ancients say, is that the laws of nature are the same as the laws of spirit.
Oh.
Right? So there's no arbitrary God that just dictates this happens, and which most intelligent people don't believe in anymore anyway. But that the laws of nature are the process by which everything works. So that creative energy that moves nature forward, that's what God is. And that is the same force that moves our lives forward. So our decisions, action, consequence, it's the same principle. So something comes in, like the butterfly effect, right? Something happens over here. There's an effect over here. One little change, stopping for 3 minutes could change your entire life. It's all the same.
Really?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. What do you think, speech?
Wow. I thought this was just a dick and fart joke podcast.
No.
I'm getting a lesson here.
Yeah.
Who knows? A brainy ex-sex addict. I mean,
Yeah.
who would know?
This podcast is about information.
Yeah.
It's not about dicks.
I'm blown away.
Well, I think,
No, I'm trying to because I'm always fascinated with that because people are always saying, the putting positive stuff out there or thinking a certain way. Like I talked to my comedian friend Godfrey, who you know.
Godfrey is a huge religious scientist. We follow the same thing.
Really?
When I first met Godfrey, we were on a show, and then we were taking the subway home together, and he opened up the big textbook, the Ernest Holmes textbook, and I was like, what? And we had a whole conversation about it.
Yeah, but he's always but he's a big believer in if you're thinking a certain way, you become that. Like if you're constantly thinking.
Well, you do, because...
Am I expressing myself well here? Because I'm trying to
get out what you put out.
Well, I understand what you're...
Or get back what you put out.
What you mean by the creative thought.
Yeah,
right? So thought is creative because... All right, so think of it this way. When the world started, right?
Yeah.
There's the world and there's a law, but there's some force that moves.
Do you believe in evolution?
Of course.
Okay.
I mean, don't most intelligent people believe in evolution?
Let's ask Speech Impediment Man.
No, I don't.
Okay.
There we go. So evolution is real.
Yeah.
And but there was something that moved it. Mm-hmm. And that's the force what we call God. Now, if your own life is a microcosm of that world, you're one piece of it, but you are it.
Right.
Right? Sort of like the ocean drop thing.
Yeah.
One drop of water contains all the properties of the ocean. It's the same thing. So what is the thing that moves anything that happens in your own life? You take a step. Something happens first. What happens first? Before any action can take place.
You move forward.
Before that.
You have to think about it.
You don't necessarily have to consciously think about it, but yes, you have to think about it. Your mind sends a message to your brain, to your body, to step forward.
Right. Is that kind of the old thing? A body at motion stays in motion. A body at rest tends to stay at rest.
Sure.
No, because we were talking just like for example,
what Godfrey's saying is your thought is that's the God force in your own life. That's the creative force. Anything that happens starts with a thought. It's a concept that begins and then everything else follows. So if you fill your mind with negative thoughts, you're not going to be able to help negative actions, negative results.
Yeah. No, because we're talking, and I bring him up just because, whether I don't care what side I don't want to get political because I don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit even less than you give a shit.
Yeah,
so.
yes. But like Donald Trump, like he's constantly saying winning and, he's constantly using like winners terms.
Yeah, like him or not, Donald Trump is a winner.
Yeah, I mean...
The facts are facts. He is where he is for a reason.
And say what you want, that is the greatest victory of all time. Sports, anything. That is the greatest victory of all time.
No, it's a huge deal. I mean, his thinking is, yes, I can be president of the United States. And everybody was like, this is crazy.
And he always like, it's great. Everything's great. But it's always positive,
It's always very positive and constructive. His thinking his thinking has put him where he is. Whether you like him, whether you hate him, whether you think he should be there, he obviously should be there because he is there.
Yeah. No, and this is, by the way, this conversation right now is just for me because I'm psychologically trying to retrain the brain. Like I'm trying to because we all go through things in life. So I'm starting to learn a little bit more about this and just approach things from a different way.
Right. But underneath being able to retrain your brain is retraining your beliefs. So if you took a look at your beliefs, a lot of times it's that which is driving your thoughts. So I'm going to say it. I am a huge believer in everything Tony Robbins says and does. I attended one of his seminars years ago. And as I said, I used to have an issue with sex addiction. I also had a drinking problem. Because I had a partying problem. Because everything that I did was motivated by fun.
Do you think back then you were more negative?
No, I wasn't negative because I wasn't having bad experiences. I was having a grand time for myself. I just wasn't accomplishing what I wanted to accomplish because my time was filled with chasing after fun. I mean, what's more fun? Getting drunk or not getting drunk? What's more fun? Getting late or not getting late?
I completely relate to this.
Yeah.
Because I am fun obsessed.
Right. I was fun obsessed.
Yeah.
And if I have a decision in front of me and it's like, which one's more fun? And that's my go-to.
Okay, I'm learning.
Right? But fun is short term. Then it's over. And then you have a problem because then you're like, okay, on to the next. And that happens with, it can happen with any. I mean, that's how addiction can be born. So I didn't want to lose that entirely, but that was driving a lot of my thoughts. It was a big thing in my mind. Where did that come from? I'm not 100% sure. I think I had a fear that the fun was going to run out.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I have all these theories, like maybe because I wasn't the hot chick when suddenly I was and all that attention was turned on me. I thought, what if this goes away? So I needed to capitalize on it.
Okay.
Who knows, right? What did it? But there are belief systems going on in your head that drive these thoughts. So if you think, I'm not good enough, I'm ugly. I think that's what it was.
Stuart Smiley. God dang it, people like me.
It was like, I'm secretly not really that hot.
Mm-hmm.
So it was driving me to be like, oh, I need any opportunity for this kind of validation, I need to jump on it because it could go away. When really, yes, I am. Always was. It's not going anywhere.
So you attended a Tony Robbins event?
2. I did.
How much does that cost, by the way?
I don't know because at the time I had unlimited money. I was a trust fund baby, and then I ran it all to the ground.
How do you run a trust fund to the ground?
I assure you it can be done. Okay? Tony Robbins seminars, $1,800 cats, penthouse apartment with a staircase overlooking the park in Manhattan. That was my 20s. Flying back and forth I had a boyfriend in Los Angeles, but when I say boyfriend, I just mean man I was obsessed with. And I would fly to LA and be like, I have meetings. And then he'd be like, cool, come stay with me. And then I'd go to the cafe and watch Grey's Anatomy on my laptop for an hour and then come back and be like, my meeting went great. There were no meetings. I would do this shit constantly.
I know you have a book coming out today.
today.
But you should be writing a book about your life. Your life.
Yeah, it's pretty
Fuck
crazy.
your mom.
I know. Well, my mom wasn't going to do it without me, so I had to. Now that's done, but. I do talk about I have a podcast too. It's not as cool as yours.
Well, plug it.
It's called Just Genevieve. And we don't have like a whole fancy studio and like big, all that. It's also called Just Genevieve because it's just me. I don't have any guests or anyone.
You don't have Speech Impediment Man?
I don't have Speech Impediment Man. I don't.
Can I call in?
Can you call? I mean, if you want.
Can I masturbate in court?
No, you may not.
That's called Me Too. That's called #Me Too right there.
Oh, there you go.
When is this podcast on?
When is this podcast on?
No, yours.
It's on wherever pods are casted. I guess it's on Spotify and iTunes and.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's a picture of me, with some polka dots.
Are you still on the fence about her?
Yeah.
You're not on the fence. No, you were sold on. He's on the fence about you. You were on the fence about
If it had the visual effect, I would like
my podcast had a visual effect.
Yeah, you said you're on it.
No, there's a picture, but
okay. If
no, it's like audio.
You're really good at making things creepy.
Can you wear like a
You have a superpower of making things creepy. Like, you just know how to do it.
That's a very special power.
Oh, my God.
That's good.
I like your necklace.
You like my necklace?
How about you not look at her chest? How about that? How about you not make my guests feel creepy? How about you try that? Huh? Yeah. Look the other way for the rest of the podcast. Jesus Christ.
That's very funny.
We're going to be wrapping it up, but before we get rolling, let me ask you one more other thing.
Go for it.
Okay, these are the ones that stuck out to me. Kendall Jesus. I don't know what that is. I don't know where to go.
What? All right. So, what did I write you? What? Can I see what my list was?
Just.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Oh, we're going through these, huh? All right. So, when I was in New York, this was probably during the height of my sex addiction. I was in New York and I was at a party and there was this, I have a type and this is not it. Okay. I don't like blondes. I don't like, any kind of accent.
What about guys with kidney stones?
Guys with kidneys, 100%. Oh my God. Well, yeah, because there was an episode of, Ian McShane is like God to me. And
who's that?
He's a guy on Deadwood who's like, he's Al Swearingen on Deadwood. I think he is the hottest sex. Like, if every man on this planet looked like that, and there's an episode where he has kidney stones, that's not a good picture. Yeah, there he is, right there.
Dude, he looks terrible.
He's gorgeous. He's so hot, and he's passing kidney stones, and he's all like,
he looks like a wax mummy.
And I was like, oh my God, like I'm in love with him. I'm telling you, I've slept with at least 10, 15 guys just because they look like that.
Wow.
But this one guy, he looked like a Ken doll, which is very attractive to other people, not so much to me. But he was all over me at this party, and I was like, eh. And then I had a few drinks, and he starts giving me a back rub, and it was very good. So he's like, if you want, we could go back to my apartment and like finish the massage. And I was like, all right, sure. So I go back to this guy's apartment, and we walk in there, and it's huge. And I mean, huge. Like, my place was cool. This was like amazing. This was like a whole floor, right? And this cat walks over. This cat is like gigantic. It's like a mountain lion looking cat. And I'm like, what is this? And he starts to tell me the story about how he was in a motorcycle accident when he was a kid, and they sued the company because he was representing the company, doing tricks and the thing or whatever. And he got all this money, like millions and millions of dollars.
Damn.
Right. So I said, well, so you just have this apartment and this cat, and I mean, like, did you use the money to go to school? And he says, something Christian college, which, I mean, I went to Catholic high school and I didn't go off the rails, so I didn't think anything of it, really. And then we're in bed, and he does this annoying, like, we're in bed, and I just remember him going, babe, you're beautiful, babe, you're beautiful, babe. And I was like, got it, beautiful, shut up. Like, it's annoying, know, like, annoying, like, repeat yourself. So we hook up, like, we had sex once, and it was over very quickly. And then he wanted to do it again, and I said, do you have any more condoms? And he goes, can't we reuse this one?
Can we reuse this? Can we just reuse it? That's funny.
See, even speech impediment man knows that's
It's a bad idea.
a bad idea,
That's a
right?
no-no.
Right. So I said, have you done this before?
Oh, God.
And he didn't really answer the question. He was just kind of like, right, of course. That's a stupid thing to say. Anyway, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, the cat's like, "Rah!" And I'm like, I gotta go. And I try to get up and he comes out of the bathroom and he's just like taking a shower. And I'm like, I'm in ahead. He goes, yeah, no, that's fine. But before you leave, may I say a few words? And I'm like, what's on your mind right now? And he puts his hand, like one hand on my chest and like one hand on my head. And he goes, Lord. Thank you for the love that was shared on this now most sacred of places. And for the angel you've brought in that I might experience. And I'm like, holy shit. And he like on and on. And I'm like, this was great. Gotta go. And he's like, wait, can I have your number? And I'm like, sure. And I just punched like 1, 2, 3, 4 into his phone and throw it back. And this guy tracked me down on Facebook like 4 years later and writes on my wall, love, I will always treasure the one night we shared. I'm like, what the fuck? And my mom saw it. She was like, who's writing on your wall? I'm like, block, delete, goodbye.
Well, you supposed on this wall, girls do not have sex with this guy 2 times because he reuses condoms.
I should have done that, but I blocked him and now I don't remember his name. Where were you when I needed that advice?
Oh, the Lord does amazing things, doesn't he? Well, this has been an absolute joy.
Cute.
Again, where can people get your book?
Oh, the book. Yeah. So it's called Kiss Me Swamy. It's available in select bookstores, also barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com. We're going to be having, there's events. There's going to be a reading and a signing at Book Soup on the Thursday the 5th, this coming Thursday, and then at Diesel Books in Santa Monica on the 8th, on Sunday the 8th. Wild Fox in West Hollywood on the 21st, and that's all the events for this month.
Will you be saying any of these stories?
Probably not.
But you can listen to these stories if you go subscribe to our podcast.
Yeah, you can subscribe to my podcast.
Just Genevieve.
There's these stories and many more
Yeah.
like them.
Find out about her sex addiction.
Yeah.
September 5th through the 8th, I'll be at the Houston Improv. The 20th and 21st, I'm at Governor's in Long Island. Where am I after that? Tampa Side Splitters, the 24th through the 30th. And on October 1st, the roast of Kevin Brennan, live from the Stand, New York City. Can't wait for that. Speech impediment man.
Really?
What do you got?
You're a happening guy. All I got is the show next Saturday night at
That's someplace in the valley.
the
right?
golf range.
Yeah,
The golf range.
Yeah, somewhere.
Riverside.
We don't know the name of the venue. But
It's called Brooks Bar.
okay.
Golf range, and Howard Stern's coming out here in October, and
I'm sure you guys will be hanging out.
yeah. Besides that, I got. Well,
That sounds fun.
he
like
would
Howard
love
Stern.
to hear your sex addiction.
You think?
Story.
Why don't you hook him
Yeah.
up? Drop
I
his,
will.
All right.
he just wants your number now.
I know.
I'll walk you to your car.
Thank
and
you.
Yeah.
Get your number.
There you go. Next thing you know, you got another FX miniseries about a serial killer. Paul, do you got anything you want to plug? I know you're going through pain right now.
Yeah, I'm cool right now.
You're good? Okay. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Hit subscribe. 5 stars on this bitch. iTunes. That's a wrap.
Sit down, Sonny.